the thing. Most of us are chronically online, including myself. It's hard not to be these days, but studies have shown just how taxing a digital existence can be. Luckily for the folks in Northwest Ohio, there is an ever-present outlet for escaping the pull of our curated algorithms, our metro parks. I'm Erin Holden, editor-in-chief of the Toledo Free Press. Each week, I'll be shadowing a different person at various metro parks to see how they are taking advantage of our expansive park system. Whether you are a runner, bird watcher, fisherman, or a mom who just wants your kid to get some fresh air and exercise at the playground, our parks really present infinite possibilities for outdoor experiences. And that's what I'll be doing on this podcast, exploring those possibilities with local folks like you who use Metro Parks Toledo in your day-to-day lives. Because if you want to get away from your screens and back to nature, Toledo's public spaces really do make that a walk in the park. As a writer, my job requires that I be a fairly sedentary person. In fact, I'm often working from home, sitting on my couch with my legs curled under me, a habit that I'm already paying for. I try to work in some activity when I get a chance. Going for walks and doing yoga are my go-tos, but going for a run? No way. Throughout the course of my life, I've half-heartedly attempted to take up running, but each time I tried, I found it to be so miserable that I decided I'm just not a runner. That being said, I know that my cardio is my weakest link in my overall fitness, and I would very much like to not feel like I'm dying every time I break into a jog, an admitted rarity. That's why this episode is less a walk in the park and more of a run in the park. I met up with two running coaches who teach everyone from absolute beginners and kids to people who have run multiple marathons, Bob Masters and Joan Mathews. We met at the Secor Metro Park Visitor Center to get to know one another before getting me primed for a quick run in this beautiful park. It was a warm day, but luckily the park has a lot of shady paths perfect for avoiding heat exhaustion. First, I sat down with Bob, who has been a running coach for over 30 years. I knew he would have some excellent tips for me to make running a much more pleasant experience than it has been in the past. Hi, Bob. How's it going?
How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for meeting me out here at Secor.
One of my favorite parks.
All right. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to this park, but it is beautiful. So we are discussing running today and talking about running tips. So looking at your credentials online, it looks like running's been a part of your life, at least since you were in college. Were you always an active kid, or did you have to cultivate that part of your life?
I was pretty active as a kid. I grew up in the city of Toledo, right in the city, so we were always together with my friends. I played baseball on teams and football on teams all through school. We'd be playing in the summer baseball and tag at night, all kinds of stuff, just running through the neighborhoods. Back then, it was kind of what you would do. You just hang out and be outside all day and run around. So I always enjoyed being outside, doing activities. And then as I got older, I found running in high school. Actually, by accident, I broke my arm pole vaulting for track because I decided I wanted to try a different sport. Wasn't the greatest at baseball, so in high school I tried pole vaulting, broke my arm, and the coach said, well, it looks like you're going to run now. And I was like, you mean just run with no purpose in it? And he's like, well, there's races you can do and stuff, but yeah, you're just basically going to be running. And ever since then, I've been hooked. Now we're going on, 40 plus years of running.
When Bob recalls saying, you mean run for no reason, I got a real kick out of that because that has historically been my attitude toward the whole thing. You mean a wild animal isn't chasing me? Why am I running? Anyway, it was heartening to know that he had some of those feelings years ago before he got started. And tell me about your coaching experience.
I went to University of Toledo, ran with them through scholarship, and then eventually was hired into Bedford Public Schools. And that's when I started coaching. Always knew I was going to work with kids and teaching, but then the coaching side of it was probably my most rewarding part of my teaching experience because now I'm retired. But started coaching junior high kids and high school kids, and then did that for 20 plus years, coached my own kids eventually at Northview High School, and then moved on to say, I was approached by the owners of Dave's Running Shop and said, hey, would you like to coach our adults in our programs? And I said, absolutely. So it was the next step forward, and now I'm doing actually what I love all the time, which is just running and working with people and helping them become better runners.
Yeah, Yeah. And how often do you train runners? Like, what's your day-to-day like? How frequently?
Every single day.
Every day.
My
Okay.
wife makes fun of me. She says, "Do we have a running emergency today when we're out?" Because I'll stop and start texting on my phone,
Uh-huh.
and she knows it's part of who I am. It's in my DNA now, so it's pretty much 24/7 running with me.
Do you find yourself primarily working with people who are, like kind of new to running or more marathon training, people that want to prepare for marathons?
The whole gamut. I work with John Birchfield, who at Toledo 11, and he's trying to qualify for the Olympic trials in the marathon.
Oh, wow.
And we work with people who are just trying to get to their first 5K. I want to get out there and complete my first 5K and run the whole thing. And we have coaches that work with those people, and I put a plan together for them.
And where do you most like to go on a run? What metro parks are your go-tos?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. When I was growing up, I lived in the south end of Toledo, and my first Metro Park experience was probably Swan Creek. I used to run from my house. I lived over by Highland Park area, and I'd run from
me too. That's where I live. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up south in Spencer.
Okay.
So
Oh, great.
I would run out to Swan Creek and run in Swan Creek and then run home. And really, at that young age, thought that was my only Metro Park around. And then our coach would take us to Wildwood at times. And then eventually, when I got married and settled in Toledo, I started running at Wildwood all the time because it's so centrally located. And the trails are just so like smooth and nice. You can run and kind of shut off your mind and not worry about tripping on a route.
Sure.
And then eventually moved out into the Sylvania area. And now Secor is my go-to. Just absolutely love Secor Metro Park.
Yeah. So I'm sure definitely proximity is part of it, but what are some things about this park that you really enjoyed?
I love this park a lot because I don't mind people, but Wildwood, I've talked to the Metro Parks, and it's busier than all the others combined.
It is busier. Yeah.
So coming out here is like a breath of fresh air because it's quiet. There's not a lot of people out here. It has rugged trails of just grass and that, and it has a nice smooth cinder trail. Now they have the Mosley Trail that connects this park to Wiregrass a couple miles away. So now you even have more trails to get out of this park and go over to Wiregrass and do a little loop around the lake there and then come on back. So they got everything kind of out here you want in this park.
I love walking as a way to get some exercise and enjoy my surroundings. I love being out in nature, but running does kind of make me feel like I'm dying when I attempt it. And I'm only 39, but my cardio could use some work. So for someone who's a true beginner like me, what are your biggest tips?
My biggest tip for people who are just starting out is consistency. Consistency with whatever you do and have a plan in mind. I work with my wife a lot too because she'll get into running and then she'll stop for a while, then she'll have to start back up. And she knows it's consistency. So when we get people in the program, we say, don't worry about doing everything right away. All you have to do is be consistent with what you're doing. If you want to run 3 or 4 times a week, just stay at that. Stay at that. It doesn't matter how fast you're going, how far, how long, all movement is good. So when you're out there walking like you said you like to walk, I tell people, throw in some running. Go running for 30 seconds and then go back to your walk and then throw that in. And then the next time you go out walking, maybe throw in 45 seconds of running every time until you feel comfortable or you feel like, hey, maybe I'll go run for, 3-4 minutes this time and see how that feels in between my walk. And so that's how I like to have people build. Some people say, well, I just got to go out and start running all the time. It's like, no, you don't have to do that at all.
I would imagine if you go too hard at first and you're not prepared, it can kind of turn you off of it. So just taking it slow is better.
Yeah, and it usually leads to injury, and then people get deflated and defeated, and there goes your consistency. Because now you can't run because you're either hurt or you're feeling defeated from it because it is running. It can be very challenging at times if people just want to go out and just start running right away, because people don't realize just running a mile is pretty far, just going out and running a mile. And so they hear people running 5Ks and marathons. And then if they're struggling just to run a mile, it's very defeating. So we try to tell them movement is good. You're not going to get everything under the sun right away. So just be smart and be consistent.
This made me think back to my past efforts at running and realize that I was doing 2 things very wrong. Number 1, when I would break out into a run, I wasn't running at a sustainable pace. And I only stopped running when I could barely catch my breath. Number 2, because this experience was kind of the worst, I was not consistent at all because I dreaded it. An aha moment. Basically, I was making it too hard. Okay, and I do have some questions for you about like how to get started because we're going to go on a run together.
All
So,
right,
yeah, let's get started.
let's do it.
Bob and I walked over to a nearby field to prepare for our run.
And if you want, we can do like some warm-up. Like if you wanted to do some easy stretches, we can do that in here, like this little shade.
Yeah, let's do that. That's perfect.
Yeah, that way, same with walking, we're not doing anything weird right in front of us.
Yeah. So, before we start, I did want to ask what are some of the appropriate gear that you should have before starting a run, like shoes, etc.
The main thing I tell people is you want a good pair of running shoes. That's really all you need to start this. This will help you prevent injuries, keep you healthier, keep you going better. I would avoid any type of big department store, chain stores. You want to go to a specialty running shop.
Okay.
Where the people there are usually trained in fitting you for a specific shoe. They look at usually your gait, your form, and then they try to give you different shoe models to try on as best they can to keep you healthy.
Okay.
So running shoes, shirt, you can wear a cotton t-shirt, pair of shorts, pants, something
Okay.
out in the run, and as you get into it, then you can start going on. I always tell people, that's the best thing about running. It's not that expensive to get going on.
Yeah. So I don't even remember when I bought these shoes, but looking at these shoes, I am interested if you have a critique. Or
I
your
would
thoughts
not
on these.
consider those real running shoes. I would consider those more of your like CrossFit type shoes.
Okay.
We used to have people would buy the one shoes by Nike that you could almost bend them and touch the heel to toe together. And everyone thought those were great running shoes, and they're probably one of the worst running shoes you could buy because there was no support to it. So yeah, you got a good starter pair, but if you're gonna really get into it, I would definitely get a more solid, more supportive pair.
Okay, more supportive. That's good to know. During the summertime, what are some things to keep in mind in the summer heat when going for a run?
Obviously, the heat index is a big factor. People don't take into account the temperature and the humidity. That heat index can get to dangerous levels, and it's very important to run early in the day if you can, when it's hot out, or run in the evening when the sun goes down. Shaded areas are really good, and frequent water breaks are always good. So metro parks have water fountains in all of them. So I used to run in the metro park. If it was really hot, I made sure, all right, I'm going to go by this water fountain, and stop at different times to get some water in you. And slow down. Okay.
Don't overdo
People
it.
will try to run the same pace they run in 50-degree weather when it's 90 degrees. And that just ain't happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's really shady out here today and not too warm.
Oh, it's a
so,
beautiful day.
Yeah. My other question was biggest mistakes that runners make in their form, how they breathe, that kind of thing, just so I'll know before we get started.
Yeah. I always tell a lot of runners, form isn't really something to focus on at this point. You want to just get out there and get movement in. I had a health professional, really good sports doctor once told me, the more you do it, the more your body will adjust and adapt its form to get you from point A to point B, because that's the human body. It will find the most economical way to get you from point A to point B. So doing more of it will help smooth out your form some. Breathing. One thing that I can't stand hearing is in through your nose, out through your mouth.
Okay, I have heard that a lot.
That is not, there is no scientific studies on that. There's nothing that shows that helps you more. You want to get air in as much as you can. You want to get it down into your lungs. That short panting breath people will do too is not good. You want to get that air down in there, because then that gets out to your body and gets to your muscles and keeps you moving. I always tell people, don't worry about the in through your nose, out through your mouth. When you're running as much as you are, or as hard as you are sometimes, you want to get in air in as much as possible.
Okay, so even if I'm really huffing and puffing, as long as I'm intentionally breathing, I'm
Yes,
good.
getting that air down in there.
I don't even know if I could. Breathing through my nose, out through my mouth would be like,
And
seems
that's
like a
what
lot
happens
to think of as you run.
And that's what happens to a lot of people. They stop getting enough air in because they're trying to breathe in through their nose. So then they really struggle with the workout.
Right. Good for yoga, bad for running.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Some people, they might not be physically ready for running for whatever reason. Not just that they're a beginner, but maybe they have a physical challenge or something. What do you do to build up to it if there's some physical challenge that you have going on in your body?
Well, first thing I tell people is that have some type of challenge like that is talk to your doctor. First see your doctor, make sure let's do this.
Yeah.
And I tell people running is a high impact sport. You're putting all of your body weight, and I can't even remember, it's like 7 times, 10 times the force of your body weight when you hit the ground. So walking, bike riding, swimming, those elliptical, those things that take away the pounding but still work the aerobic system
Okay.
are a great way to get started, because then if you do get to that point where you can run, that aerobic system has already been engaged and is ready to go and is helping work that aerobic so you can run, because running is an aerobic activity.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Let's get into some stretches.
You and I will do the same thing, and you can just kind of mimic me.
Okay.
And I'm going to use some terms that I like to use with my junior high kids, so this will be fun.
Yeah.
This is called knee hugs.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to walk, and then every third step, we're going to grab our knee and pull it to our chest.
Okay.
So let's walk. 1, 2, 3. We'll pull this knee. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3. And we'll pull the opposite knee.
Okay.
Then we'll go 1, 2, 3. And we keep pulling each knee up. All right. And then there, just a little bit, stretching that back area. All right, we'll turn around and go the other way. And this time, I call these swiper no swipies from Dora. If you remember Dora the Explorer.
I miss Dora the Explorer. I'm like too old for it, and my kid's too young to. Well, I mean, I guess they have it now.
I have kids that were right in that pocket.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 3 steps, and then what you're gonna plant your heel, and then you're gonna reach down and swipey no swipey at your toes. You're just gonna kind of reach for your toes, but keep this leg straight.
Okay, but the other leg, it's okay if it's bent.
Yeah, the other leg is fine if it's bent.
All right.
So you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, plant, and then reach down and swipe at it, kind of.
Okay.
And then 1, 2, 3, plant.
Full disclosure, about an hour before I needed to leave for this meetup, I had a flare-up of what I've come to call the twinge. My doctor thinks it might be a pinched nerve, and it acts up from time to time when I'm performing certain movements. So I was definitely praying that I would be able to do these simple stretches without any issues. Today of all days, right? All right, not bad.
There's a bunch more we could do, but I think for our purposes, that's good.
Okay, no,
that's solid.
those are great.
We're gonna sprint.
Oh.
No. No, we're gonna go
Okay,
really,
we're starting pretty slow.
We're starting really slow.
Okay. You can hear that I'm definitely relieved that we weren't sprinting.
This is how you begin your run. You always start slow, nice and easy. Especially when you get to be my age. Because no more starting fast anymore. Then I usually finish my run with a walk. Yeah.
Gotta have the cool down time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
And this pace does feel really good.
Oh, that's good. I thought you were able to handle that pretty well. How'd it go for you?
Good.
Pinch nerve feel okay?
Yeah, totally fine. And I think normally I do start a little too fast. That's one thing I noticed. That was a good pace for me to start at. I feel comfortable.
Yeah, we like to, especially when you get old like me, you like to start out nice and easy and work into a pace, and then also kind of ramp down and finish nice and easy. Like I was telling you earlier, I like to usually walk a little at the end nowadays because I can't just stop anymore and just say, all right, time to do some static stretching and head home.
Ending with a walk sounds good to me. So.
Yeah, it's always good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the tips. And
No
the
problem. I hope you keep on running.
run. Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
You too.
After going for a run with Bob, I was feeling way more inspired to learn more about how to become someone who runs regularly. So I was excited to get even more tips from Joan. The two of us sat down for a chat. Hey, Joan. Thanks for coming out to meet us today.
Hi, it's my pleasure.
So I know that you've been running for quite a while, but has running always been a part of your life?
Actually, no. I didn't start till just before I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, who just turned 44 last week.
Okay.
When I was in college, I had roommates that ran, and I remember I went to Ohio State and I ran with them at the field house in jeans and street shoes and ran 3 miles and said, "This is stupid. You can have your sport," and didn't run again until I was 21.
That resonates
or
with
20
me.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, do you run every day?
I do not. I had knee replacement. It's 8.5 years. I used to run almost every day,
Okay.
and I ran a lot, but now I run maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week, and a lot less miles and a lot slower.
Just not to overdo it with a knee replacement. Right. And is there a certain time that you prefer to run, or just whenever you can fit it in?
My favorite time is first thing in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
Because you get up, you go run, and then you take your shower for your day, and you're done.
Yes. I'm more of a morning workout person, too. And where do you usually run? We're at Secor now, but where do you typically go?
I've run a lot at all of the parks. I don't know if I have a favorite or not. I like to cross country ski here at Secor.
Oh, cool.
But I like all the parks.
Yeah.
They all have their own little nuances, and depending on how I feel, if I want hills or trails or where I'm at.
You were saying before we started that you do have a history with this park. Like, you grew up close to this park, right?
Yes.
Okay.
In high school, actually, we moved to Ohio when I was in 7th grade. We lived in Grove Bell, just down the street, and I used to sneak my brother's bike and come ride out here. And my friend lived like a half a mile away from here. Actually, where her house is actually part of the park now.
So, is there a distance that you typically shoot for? You said that you run less distance now since the knee replacement, but what do you normally shoot for when you go for a run?
Now I do a lot more 3 and 4 milers.
Okay, which still, I mean, to me that sounds like a lot.
Before
I'm not a runner, but
before I used to run,
still
I'd run before school, and I'd run 5 miles all the time.
Yeah,
And
wow.
Now it's 3 or 4.
Have you run any marathons, and which ones would be most notable for you, if so?
I've run 7 marathons.
Wow, okay.
Not for a long time. Most notable is, of course, Boston.
Wow, yeah. And when was that? When did you run that one?
1987.
Oh,
I qualified in 86 and 87. 86, I sent my entry form, and it was paper and pencil back then. It was $60, and I had a stress fracture in my foot, so I didn't go that year. And then the next year I went. I was born in Massachusetts, so my parents always told my brother, sister, and I that if we ever went, they would take us, and we stayed at relatives, and then they flew us home.
and I know that's a huge marathon, but was it also special to you because of being from Massachusetts
Yes.
and that connection?
Yes.
Yeah. Where in Massachusetts are you from?
I was born in Fall River.
Okay. So what do you like about running in Secor specifically? Some features of it that stand out to you as a runner?
There's a lot of shade. There's not a whole lot of routes. There's one section that has routes, but other than that, it's pretty routeless. It's wider, so if you're walking or running with somebody, you don't have to run single file, and it's convenient.
When you were first learning how to run for longer distances, what were some discoveries that helped it to be easier for you?
When I first started, I was teaching, and there were a couple of teachers that used to run at lunchtime. So I started with them, and we would run like a block. And there was like a 1.5-mile loop that we did. And then I ended up going to Outward Bound with students from where I taught because I ran. So that was fun. But yeah, it was just increasing a block or two at a time.
Yeah.
And just starting out slow.
Yeah, starting slow. And when you were running with them at first, was it difficult to keep up? Because I find that when I'm as a beginner attempting to run with someone who's kind of used to doing it on a regular basis. So yeah, you did find that to be
and
a
then
little difficult.
I coached the beginners after my knee replacement. I followed the beginners program, and I remember the first night I came home and I ran 1.5 minutes. I did 3 30-second intervals, and I just thought that was great because I didn't think I'd ever be able to run again.
Yeah. And when after the knee replacement, what is the protocol for starting to run again? Did your doctor talk to you about it or give you advice about how to start
He
it?
kept telling me to try, and I was coaching, and the
nice.
first group that I coached, I walked the whole thing. He'd tell me, go try run. And I'm like, what? And I'd take 2 steps, and I'm like, nope, not today. And I would try another time, and nope. And then the next training session, I said, okay, I'm going to do what they did. Mm-hmm. I only ran on the days that I coached. I didn't do any of the in-between stuff. I walked. And then I was able to do a 5K at the end of it. So
Yeah.
the proof is in the pudding. It's in the training.
Right. So you kind of waited until your body was ready.
Yes.
And also probably a lot of walking kind of
A
got
lot.
your body back in shape to do
And I
it.
still do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
I do probably more walking than I do running now.
Okay. Yeah. And what is your system in that way? Like the amount of walking that you do and then running, like the intervals? What do you typically do? It might vary. I don't know. I'm sure it probably does.
A lot of times I'll walk first, because I'm old and I have to loosen up my back. So I'll walk some first and then I'll run.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times I'll walk again at the end.
Yeah, as a cool down kind of deal. Yeah. How do you feel after a good run?
It's like the best feeling in the world, especially if I do a race and I do a time that I like. My times now are a lot different than what they were before, but it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah. So a sense of pride, but people always tell me about this runner's high that I've never experienced.
Yeah,
so do you feel that?
There's some of that in there.
Yeah. And do you notice a big difference when you're running regularly versus when you aren't?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's when I taught and I would run before school, it was like I would go to school and the kids knew if I didn't run. It was just my head was clearer.
Okay.
I would plan out my day when I ran. It was just, you just feel differently when you run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're making a really good case for it, especially a morning run so that you're clear for the rest of your day.
Yeah.
And how does running factor into how to age well and maintain your health, in your opinion?
Let's see, I've been running 45 years and I'm almost 70.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. You move better.
Yeah. Being sedentary is the worst thing you could do, so I'm sure
Exactly.
it's a great thing to get into. Well, thanks for sitting down with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This was fun.
When we decided on running as one of our episode themes, I imagined myself sweating and trying desperately to catch my breath, to great comedic effect. In reality, the stretching routine and going for a jog were actually quite doable, even for a novice like myself. I also found myself thinking, particularly when speaking to Joan about resuming her running routine post-surgery, that there is a wonderful quality to be found in runners that can translate to every part of one's life. Be consistent and be resilient. Making the activity a part of your everyday practice and building on it little by little is much more valuable than trying to max out your energy levels every day. And if your body needs time off to recover from an injury or surgery, don't be afraid to start over. Sometimes going back to something you love can look different as we age, but that doesn't mean it's any less valuable. Just keep moving. Okay. So, I'm at the end of my first jog that I've done in many, many years, and I feel okay. Even in this heat, it wasn't too bad. I do feel a little tightness in my thigh, and I think maybe I could do some more stretches. I'm gonna do a cool down walk, and I think I'm done for the day, and I might even do this again, I think. I'd like to thank my guests Bob Masters and Joan Mathews for joining me on today's episode. Thanks as well to our production team, M.R. Herner and Chris Pfeiffer, and a special thanks to Scott Carpenter of Metro Parks Toledo. A Walk in the Park With is a collaboration between Metro Parks Toledo and WGTE Public Media. You can find our episodes at wgte.org/walkinthepark or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host and producer, Erin Holden. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.